just the shoe. Should we go up on it? Well, good afternoon, everybody from wherever you're joining us from. It is day one of the Barthes 2025 tournament. Kenya, the defending champions, Kenyan Chipu as they go by, have a lot at stake here this year, breaking the hearts of the Zimbabweans. Last year, they are kicking off the tournament, playing from right to left. Tunisia, though, looking sharp, joined in commentary by Rovimbo Chakureka. A lot of build-up to this tournament happening out here at Old Iranian Sports Club. And you want to start these tournaments well, Rovimbo, just so that you make your statement loud and clear.
Oh yes, 100%. And I think TC, once again, a good afternoon. A good afternoon to all that have joined us. Very important for the Kenyan Chipu to make a statement. They will be expected as defending champions of this tournament. Last year, were not able to pick up any win, losing to all three sides. That's Kenya, Zimbabwe and Namibia. But this year, they'll be hoping to do a little bit better. They've got some big boys. Let's see how they go.
Well, if the warm-ups are anything to go by, the Tunisians were really pumped up. Some happy feet there linking up. Ball is now at the right wing. Just back in field, lucky they get away with that one. Kenya showing some great ferocity at the breakdown. Tunisia managing to hold them quite well as they set up their defense. They've got lots of numbers out on the left. Passing accuracy leaves a little to be desired, but you get that early on in a contest. They want to keep possession of the ball. Now it goes out to the backs, trying to test with the high ball. Decent looking kick. Kenyan does very well to get under that one, Rudy.
Oh yes, very good in order to get there. Unfortunately, had the breakdown, just literally diving in and sealing that ruck. So that doesn't work too well for them. So Tunisians are coming in with some dummy runners up front as well and trying to create that space for their backline to move along. An interesting move, but I would have loved to see Tunisia maybe run the ball through the hands and see if they can get their wingers on it. And here they are running, well, straight into traffic.
Yeah, but I quite like what they're doing here, the Tunisians. Just trying to keep the ball in hand as much as they can. Obviously, recycling of the ball, very important. Kenyans looking good here in defense. They manage somehow to get that ball out of that maul and they rumble forward. Do the Tunisians go? Kenya having to do a lot of defending and they're doing that pretty well. Keeping them behind the game line, getting over the ball, trying to jackal. But once again, Rimbo, the Tunisians doing well. A busting run forward there from one of their players. They lock forward. He breaks the game line. So far, it's been all Tunisia with ball in hand. Kenya proving their worth in defense. Going through another phase, out to the back line they go. First time the left wing has had the ball in hand and he's showing some happy feet. Kenyans doing well in defense.
Oh yes, Chabuni there is the one that has gone straight into contact. And a good ball from Elmeri, who has really been distributing the ball quite nicely from the base of the ruck. This time round going over to Yassine Dimasi. Releases it out and another kick over the top by Boum Nigel. Boum Nigel was there last year. Boum Nigel did play as part of the Tunisian side, and good to see that he's back. Obviously, that's good for continuity and experience as well in order for them to keep going forward.
They are quite unfortunate there from the Kenyan fullback Dennis Ndayala Levoy. He got to the ball, fortunately took his eyes off last minute, and that credit to the first match of the Barthes tournament 2025. Kenya to restart.
Well, the expectation here will be to keep on applying the pressure. I think defensively Kenya have not been bad, considering that these points have only been, conceded from a penalty goal. Oh, lovely pass and a great run on the blind side by Tunisia. This time around, it is the man wearing number 5, Yassine Dimasi. Ball comes out again, looking to build up their phases, and this is what you can expect. North African rugby in its typical fashion. Build up the phases, get some of those blindside runs. They've got very quick wingers as well, do the Tunisians. So let's see how they will continue to go about business. This time round, the hooker, that is Tokani, meeting up with a wall of red and black. Now, Tunisia have been a little bit iffy in the back line when it comes to ball handling there and passing it through the hands, and Kenya have managed to turn over, and now this is their chance to attack.
Absolutely, Rui. First chance with ball in hand. The Kenyans, they worked hard in defense, trailing by just 3 points, but now they've got a piece of the ball. Bit of a certain pass there from Eskamaf Maruti, who's also their captain. Get a chance now to stack up numbers on the left side. Cheche with the ball, he gets brought to ground. Slow ball, recycling yet again from their skipper. Finds their hard runners there. Odiambo. That is pressure. Hello from the Kenyans. What a good piece of work. And they scored a try, really. Questions will be asked around that try, but Kenyans respond with a 5-pointer. Some individual brilliance there from Okwaro, their right winger. Talk us through that, November.
Oh my word, once again the cardinal sin of allowing the ball to bounce, go over, maybe just caught out of position there by the floating of the ball, but great chasing as well from the Kenyans, and guess what, they were able to apply enough pressure. There might be questions as to whether Tunisia had put the hand on the ball behind the try line to try and gain an input, but that didn't happen, and it's a try time for Kenya. So just looking to establish who made the kick, it looks like it's the blindside winger from Kenya wearing jersey number 11. He released that ball there, Cheche, but he didn't. And Tunisia look like they have grabbed the turnover. And Utimba says, play on, boys. We have to keep going.
Great turnover there from the Tunisians. Shkamaf really got over the ball, got into a strong position to jackal that ball. On his feet, nothing wrong with that. Referee says play on. He'll certainly be looking for safety here. Doesn't get all of it. Taken by the Kenyan. Set up again. Not a great kick there from Tunisia. Just allowing Kenya to hit back at them or what? Big boy. I think they're going to have to watch him. Wouldn't want to be standing in front of him at full tilt. Here they go now. Kenya spotting the space out wide. A lovely pass from Livoi to find the try scorer. He's happy after getting 5 points on the board. Look how slowly the Tunisians are getting back in defense. I think they're tiring a little bit, Ruby. But the Kenyans have now got a spring in their step as they enter the 22.
Oh yes, indeed. Kenya doing very well, building up their phases, now going into full tilt at the moment. Some of the heavy hitting is now also beginning to wear down on the Tunisians. Huge overlap here. Surely this should be try time. Easy pass to the first center, and Kenya, that is a Kipcheche, Daniel Beck Kipcheche. He's going to stick it in between the posts, and Kenya now in full flow.
Oh yeah, how quickly it changes, Rui. We were talking and praising the Tunisians.
Come out enjoying an early afternoon beer or two, and Kenya gets their line out good. Now looking to run the ball through the hands. Kipcheche decides to go for a hit. I'm not so sure that was the wisest. Run it through the hands, get everybody running. Too many clean shots on the Kenyan side.
Oh, that's because they haven't been put to ground much. Really? Tunisia.
Good meters here, TC.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful meters being made by Tunisia, but it's about crossing the chalk. What they eventually want to do, inch by inch, they're getting forward. I think they should keep it in the forwards there. But the Kenyans are really putting a full stop to that attack so far.
Oh yes, a great red wall of defense here, and I think they are folding quite nicely to ensure that they keep the Tunisians out. But at this point, I think the Tunisians have been using one side of the fringes too much. Need to change those fringes if you are looking to get over the line. Ball does come out. It was on the legs, and Tunisia over. But there's going to be a little bit of a question between the referee there. Well, he decides that there was no problem there because, look, to be fair, I think it just hit the foot. Play does continue from there. Try time for Tunisia, and surely, considering how close it was to the post, this should be a converted try.
Much needed try for Tunisia, Rui. They kept persisting around the fringes. Eventually, a couple of holes and straight through the hole for a wonderful try to bring them back into the game. As you mentioned, with the kick to come, Tunisia really needed that. Just give the Kenyans something to think about, because it was now a little bit one-sided. great play from Tunisia.
Oh yeah, it looks like now Tunisia have just been able to get themselves back into a nice, good phase of play. And Kenya have allowed that. So I don't think the Kenyan technical team is too happy about how the team have gone about business. They're allowing Tunisia back into it. And oh my word, unfortunately, that conversion is missed. That's the last thing that they needed. But anyway, nonetheless, the scoreline is of 14 points to 8. Still not too bad for the Tunisians. What I would expect now is that if they do get any penalties in the half of Kenya, go for the 3 points, chip away at that lead. Begin to apply pressure so that Kenya looks to do something differently, and then you impose yourself.
Indeed, Ruby, indeed. They've been milking quite a lot of penalties inside the Kenyan half, have the Tunisians. I think they do need to go for poles more. That try came in good time for them, so they'll have confidence, but a great kick chase there from the Kenyan Chipu. Tunisia do well to recycle that ball, taking it slow, wanting to make sure. It's a little bit of a darting run past the ball, but it was a pick and go from the base of the ruck. We're going to look for territory here. Off the side of the boot, but it's an even contest here. Kenya Chipu knock it on, and there's an opportunity, but the referee says taking a man out in the air, but I thought they were both going for the ball there.
Yes, you can go for the ball, but you don't take the man, TC. And, well, fair enough. It could have been a 50-50, but here's also another time where I would have expected Kenya to go for the 3 points and just edge it away, but they've decided to go for the kick into territory. I think they're feeling confident that they can be able to bust through the Tunisian defense and maybe score more points. One of the other things that I've found as well, Tunisia not doing as much. They haven't really run the ball through their hands. I mean, we saw Kepsheshe, the fullback there, being able to break that defensive line of Tunisia, but they haven't done that in a while. And so I would love to see them do a little bit more of that, and I'm sure they could impose themselves on Tunisia.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I would like to chat a bit about that contest in the air a little bit later, because both players had eyes on the ball, which is why I feel the Tunisians were hard done by there. But anyway, the Kenyans going straight through the gap goes Omondi. Omondi is taken, but scrambling are the Tunisian defenders. Out to the right they go. A bit of a loose pass, but well dealt with by the right winger. Unfortunately, Kip Tanui knocks that on, and Tunisia survive with a defensive scrum.
Oh, yes, indeed. And, well, Tunisia, they're really scrambling in defense, and their backline not necessarily picking up the runners as well. But kudos to Kenya for how they've been going about business. And I think it really rehashes the point that I made. Run it through the hands. The Kenyans are good at that. They know how to do that, especially with their sevens base culture. They know how to run the hard lines and good lines. So if they can continue to do that, I'm sure they can put Tunisia under pressure. But also for Tunisia, I think the fly-off needs to get those kicks much better. This entire situation is as a result of that ball coming off the side of the Tunisian fly-off's boot.
Yep, and the Kenyans almost capitalized there, make them pay with a 5-pointer. Fortunately, Kip Tanui couldn't get the ball to hand. And these are never nice scrums to have in your own 22. You know the Kenyans will be licking their lips to try and get a counter shove on you. So Tunisia really have to be well set here at this scrum, otherwise they'll find themselves in a lot of trouble.
One of the other quick commendations I'll make as the scrum is setting up is that I've been impressed with Kenya under the high ball. They've been cleaning up the high ball very, very well for the most part of this contest. And I think that was a small chink in their armor last year, regardless of the fact that they won in a penalty in favor of Kenya. That was a huge scrum. And you can see fist pumps, handshakes, shoulder slaps, back slaps, everything in there. Because that was a really good scrum.
Well, I mentioned they'll be licking their lips, Ruby, and it paid off. They really did well to get that Tunisian setup to just pop up, and they've called for another scrum. So could we see a driving scrum here to dot it down, or we're going to see a set-piece move, the back line linking up? Well, let's wait and see. Either way, it promises to be an interesting piece of play, this one.
Well, if they can do it again, then surely they're going to drive all the way past the whitewash. But if they find it a little bit hard, surely an eighth man pick and go from here should be the option. A good shove, but decide to ship it out. Kipchirchir sends it out to the flyer, out to the fullback. Surely this is going to be try time. Oh, that was beautiful from Kenya. And it's a try time once again. But surely once it went through the hands and they had sucked in the Tunisian defense, it was going to be try time all day long.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they tried to get the driving scrum up. Unfortunately, couldn't get go forward ball, but Ngombe really did well to make sure that his scrum half gets clean ball. The back line linked up very, very nicely. Javen Odiambo Okwaro finished off what is a brilliant team try.
Oh yes, brilliant team try, and I think more of that from Kenya, and I think Tunisia will be in trouble and in for a big score. So now with that try coming in, looking for the conversion, it should take them to 21 points if they get the conversion right, and that'll be 21 points to 8. Again, another long route back for Tunisia if that is to occur. But let's see how Farhan Juma will go about it. Nice and easy, but unfortunately hits the post this time round. Just didn't quite get it inside that top left hand post, and they will stick with 19 points. 19 points to 8. It's 11 points a difference, and still trailing the game. Lots of time to be able to get back in, but I'm feeling for Tunisia because it feels 28 minutes have gone so far within the first half. So still a lot of time within the match in its entirety to be able to get back in. But I think at the end of the day, looks like the Tunisians are also feeling ground out and feeling tired.
Yeah, well, Kenya have worked their way back into this game. Or they were trailing only by 3 points, yes, but they managed to work their way back. Tunisia showing good signs of being able to score, Ruby. I'm definitely impressed. Much better rugby than they did at last year's edition of the Barthes Trophy. But the Kenyans are proving to be too strong here. And the Kenyans do get the ball just inside their 22. They'll be looking to get upfield, get themselves into better positions to score as they have. That's not a bad kick at all.
That box kick, very good, and well done to the flyer from Tunisia, Mohamed Boumnigel. It was looking quite tricky as the ball was coming to him, but he did very well, especially with that red wall of Kenya attacking. But here comes Tunisia, phase upon phase. Again, picking up on another phase. Oh, lovely little dummy pop pass inside. Need a few more runners to get closer there. And who knows, Tunisia would have been able to make more meters. And there we go. Kenya in trouble.
Yeah, penalty advantage for falling over. Kenyan first reactor at that breakdown, went straight over the ball. And they're still phasing it. They decide to go to the back line now. Again, that little chip. Not sure about that, but well, the Kenyans were under pressure given that decision to kick it out, but they will go back for that full-on penalty. 3 points up for grabs here.
Oh yeah, 3 points up for grabs. I would not want to see a kick towards or kick to find touch from this position. This is as easy as you like, TC. I mean, you could literally side-foot it over the posts.
Well, looks like the kicking tee has not come onto the field yet. Referee waiting for the captain. Eventually the signal does come. They will go for 3 before you are about to have a heart attack.
Oh yes, a heart attack indeed. I'm sure even for all of our viewers that are watching all over Africa and all around the world, enjoying Africa's finest under-20 rugby competition, the Barthes Trophy, and of course Kenya, the defending champions, currently leading 19 points to 8 against Tunisia. And out here in Zimbabwe, lovely weather for rugby. I would say cloudy, overcast. It's not sunny, it's not tiring, but it's the right kind of weather for you to do your business. The question is, can Tunisia do theirs?
Well, they've got 3 points up for grabs, which will take them into double figures. Always better reading a scoreline when both teams are in double figures. 19-8 as opposed to 19-11. Well, are they going to get to 11? No problem. He kicks it straight through the sticks, and they're into double figures. Kenya 19, Tunisia 11.
Oh yes, now that's a much better reading of the scoreline. As you said there, TC, 19-11. It feels like as well you're much closer in the game. A converted try and already is just 1 point. So for Tunisia, they should be a little bit, encouraged. But it comes back to what I said after Kenya had taken a huge lead. Get penalties in their half, go for posts. Get penalties in their half, go for posts, and you should be able to chip away at the lead.
Well, not deciding to take that one. Tunisians just let it get into touch and why not one so far in this game by the Kenyans. So they will look to try and do the same thing here.
All right, so let's see how they go about business from here. A line out in favor of Tunisia, but it's quite defensive because they're in their own 22. And Kenya are able to intercept that one, and they are now on the attack this time round, making use of their flanker.
Kenya still going forward, Ruby. This is what they've done really well in this part of the field. They have linked up very well. Unfortunately, they were playing under a penalty advantage. There was a knock on there, but they'll go back. Do they go to the corner or do they also go for three here, Ruby? You're the captain on the field. What are you calling?
Well, look, to be fair, I'm leading by 8 at the moment. I don't mind actually going for points because I do feel in the latter parts of this competition, which will most probably be Wednesday's match and even the final match against Zimbabwe, which Kenya will play, you want your fly-off or you want your kicker to be in the best condition as possible to be able to slot those in. Those games are going to be much, much closer than what it is feeling like here. So I would want to actually go for those kicks. I'd want to, see how far, what is our range, our kicking range, and then ultimately be able to sass out and feel the conditions and the atmosphere here at Old Ararian Sports Club.
And it's part of the game, isn't it? You've got to be able to take threes. We look at the international game, you get a penalty at some point 60 meters away from goal. They're going for 3 points. And I know this is not international rugby per se, but they need to make sure they utilize that. We've seen the Tunisians actually led by 3 at the beginning, which was 3 points at goal. They managed to get another 3 points earlier. And then the 5-pointer just keeps the scoreboard ticking. And it's lovely to see that the youngsters are doing that and earning points rather than just trying to score 5-pointers.
Oh, yes, 100%. And well, TC, look, ultimately they're wearing national team colors. So it is international rugby, whether like it or not. And many of these boys will then go ahead and represent their nations as well at senior rugby level. So you have to learn these basics that are now a fundamental portion of what international rugby is all about. Kicking for points, penalty goals are a way of scoring points. Use those. There's something as well that I would love to see. Drop goals, actually. Get into the pocket, especially if you're under pressure, and then be able to slot it in, especially if you're inside the 22 and so on. So these are some of the basics that we want our young African rugby players to be able to pick up in order to catch up with what international rugby is demanding.
Yeah, absolutely well said there. They got a try off the last penalty. They decided to call another scrum on. While they've done that a lot further out now. This one's outside the 22, about 5 meters out. But they're cooking something here. That back line, you can see the way they're laid out on the left here. First of all, though, you've got to get a good scrum set, win your ball. Referee is going to ask them to reset that one.
Kenyan Chipu a little bit too eager as well when they're breaking down, going into the scrums. I think we saw a free kick in the half of Kenya, and I would love to see a little bit more discipline there going into the scrums. Sometimes you will get those things blown against you when you go to the higher levels of competition.
Yeah, you will indeed. So also safety around that scrum is of paramount importance, and referees try and manage that as well. Obviously with your illegal binding and illegal scrummaging, but safety being the number one thing. No issues this time. Marutu, he gets the ball in. And they've got a penalty advantage, so Kenya really, really dominating at scrum time, Ruby. Brilliant result for them. Are they going to call another scrum?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Look, Kenya is feeling very confident. And you can see the referee there having a little bit of a chat with the Tunisians here. Just trying to make sure that the captain also does have a clear understanding of what is required within the scrum and what he wants from the game as well. So with with Kenya rather receiving another penalty, there's a high likelihood they're going to pick up another scrum and force Tunisia to make another mistake.
Yep, and I'll tell you what will be playing on the referee's mind now as well is when do I go to my pocket? It's been a number of penalties at scrum time. Saw him chatting to their captain, that's probably their team warning, and good captaincy from the Kenyans, calling a scrum immediately just to keep adding on to that pressure.
Oh, yeah. And if I was the Tunisian forwards, I would be like, what have we done wrong to you guys? But Kenya will be looking to add pressure, take advantage, and of course continue to push on from here. So Kenya sets up, getting ready. This time round, a better scrum from Tunisia. Eventually, Kenya keeps on pushing forward. Kepcheshe, ball out again to the fly-off. This is the same move that they had, which they scored a try from. But this time round, a little bit tricky. A goose step, which almost came to pass there, TC.
Stolen quite well at the ruck there. Brilliant counter ruck from the Tunisians. And they really need that. They need to keep Kenya out of their 22 here. So far, so good. I think now they need to start thinking about getting the kick on, getting out of their half. They do have 4 people back to the Kenyans. They decide to run it up again. Some physical contact out there on the park. It has been a very physical game too. Both these sides going 100% at each other. That's a good carry there from their 8th man.
Oh yes, Ben Abdallah coming in with a big hit. Also one who has been making some good carries is their tight head, Momon Tokani. And now it looks like a cross kick. It's looking quite good. All depends now. Well, seems like he had taken a piggyback ride on the Kenyan winger there.
Yep, for no cost.
Absolutely not. But Kenya doing well once again, as I mentioned, under the high ball, collecting them very, very well. So this is something that as well opposition teams like Namibia and Zimbabwe will want to actually take note of. Tunisia will feel hard done there going into the breakdown. Oh, lovely couple of side steps, and the winger is slicing through the defense here. Maybe one side step too many, and it looks like a penalty advantage there for a high tackle.
Awesome, happy feet there from the Kenyan winger. Wow, lovely to watch. Okwaro with his happy feet, lightning feet I call it, managed to beat a couple of defenders. He was taken high, so they are under a penalty advantage. Are the Kenyans as they continue to rumble forward. The left side has been a very fruitful side for the Kenyans, and there's a big carry from Muriti. Muriti takes 2 to bring him down into the hands of Mutemi. Mutemi, he finds Kepcheche. Kepcheche's already got a try for himself in this game. He gets brought to ground just 10 meters short of the try line. Is that ball going to come out? The arm is out, and there's the penalty, Rui. Great passage of play for the Kenyan Chipu.
Oh, yeah. I've never been a fan of that not rolling away type of thing when everybody is on top of you. I mean, where do you want me to go, ref?
I just feel sorry for the guy at the bottom of that pile.
Well, unfortunately, there Tunisia conceding a penalty as a result of not rolling away. And I think you all know what the call for Kenya is going to be like.
Scrum?
Scrum again.
Well, why not when your scrum is working so well? Really, really good results from their scrums. There's a player down, Tunisian player down, so there's a bit of a pause to the game. We hope he gets up and gets back into the game. Never nice to see players being excluded from the game due to injury. But 19-11, Kenya lead in the first half.
So with time stopped as for now, and Afrej Sayed getting some medical treatment. We're basically 2 minutes away from the halftime break. This arguably should be the last phase of play, and the expectation will be that Kenya will want to go in maybe with another try under their belt, have a good lead of maybe 24 points to 11. That will just keep them ahead of the game and keep Tunisia chasing. But for now, as a Tunisia technical team, I don't think I would be too angry or too mad at the job done so far. I'm sure what I would want to see is a little bit more tactical play. Let's kick for territory, kick for penalty goals whenever we get penalties in the half of Kenya. Let's try and chip away at things and try to force Kenya into playing a game that is foreign to their current structure.
Couldn't agree with you anymore, Rui. I think you've got it spot on there. As the Kenyans continue to come forward here, I think they're going to have a couple of big boys doing the work around the fringes, and why not? Tunisia really standing strong in defense. Kenya would dearly love to score another 5-pointer before the halftime break, and knocked on, unfortunately, just when I was about to say I think they need to get their backline into this attack now. They knock it on.
Oh yeah, maybe again just a little bit too eager. Sometimes there's a desire to want to accelerate play because you're feeling the try-line fever there and you want to go and quickly score, but that may not necessarily be the ploy. Here it is, a knock-on. But look, Kenya won't be too worried about that. I'm sure they now know exactly what to do against this Tunisian side. It's now about Tunisia. Do they know what they need to do against the Kenyan side? And I'm sure the technical team is going to deal with some of that. And whilst we're actually in conversation out of shot at the moment, the Namibian side has arrived at the ground now and obviously are going to be taking their seat to have a little bit of a watch of what is going on here and the next opposition, in as much as they're going to be playing Zimbabwe later on after this match. And so 40 minutes on the clock, Tunisia decide to kick into touch, and the referee is going to call it a day for the first half. Here it is Kenya were leading 19 points to 11. To be fair, they should be leading by far more. They've butchered one or two chances there that they should have buried. For Tunisia, they must consider themselves lucky, still in the game and still able to come back.
Second half of the first encounter at the Barthes Trophy 2025. Kenya leading 19 points to 11. Tunisia showing a spirited start to the first half, Rui. Kenya, though, the wheels got turning and they got rumbling. But all to play for now as Kenya kick off the second half.
Oh, yes, and they don't kick off well there as the ball doesn't go 10. And so that is going to be a scrum all the way back to the halfway line. So as they come back to the halfway line, calling a scrum is actually quite brave with the way that it wasn't too successful against the Kenyans. But coming into the second half, I'm sure from the from the Tunisian technical team, which I would want to speak for, and I'm sure that's where most of the conversation should have really been, is guys, we're not out of this game. It's only 8 points behind. We could easily get a converted try and be right back in it. What we want to do is want to chip away at the score. Once we do get into their half, let's force them to make some mistakes. Let's take our kicks in between our posts, and ultimately we'll get there.
Yeah, I think that would have been the chat, certainly. But this is also an opportunity for Tunisia to start the second half well, to dominate a scrum, and maybe also get Kenya thinking, hang on, these guys have changed something. So they'll dearly love to win this scrum, but Kenya are just picking up where they've left off. But they get the penalty, Tunisia, so great result. Not sure they wanted to take it quickly, but off he goes. A little bit isolated, but he gets great meters going forward.
Oh yes, good meters going forward, actually right up to the 22 right now. Can Tunisia keep working the phases? And looks like a good run by their tight head there, Tokani. Ball comes out, now can they run it through the hands? A decent step there and gets through quite a number of defenders. Is the number 13 Wasim Ifaui, and that was a really good run.
Unbelievable run there, really injected some pace into that attack. beat a couple of defenders, and now they're within striking range of Tunisia. They've got a penalty advantage as well. So what a way to start the second half from Tunisia. Arm is out for a full-on penalty, and the forwards are rumbling inches close to the try line. Now they go out to their back line. Oh, he was running such a great line. Fly half didn't let it go. And they're in, Ruby.
Oh, wow. There we go. Tunisia have responded and they scored that try. And that's what we were talking about there. Continuity, phase play. This is what they're known about. They have stuck to their process, and somehow, some way, they've been able to sneak through. Now, just waiting to see who it is. He's got thumbs up even to the cameras here. And just trying to see whether he's the hooker. That might be Jabala. But what a try that was from them. Good continuity, and let's just see how it all goes. So it looks like it is one of their back rowers, Abdelhamoumen Zairi, and he's done it, and well done to him.
Well, Kenya did not get the kickoff to go 10. Tunisia opted for the scrum at the halfway line, and boy oh boy have they made Kenya pay for that. Wonderful, wonderful start to the second half for Tunisia, with a kick to come.
Looking pretty decent, but unfortunately doesn't get the direction right. Won't be too disappointed. Now only 3 points behind TC, and that's what we were talking about. They are not totally out of the game. So Tunisia right now will be feeling a little bit confident. But let's come back to what we said at the beginning. Tunisia spotting a better performance than what we saw last year.
Oh no, absolutely. And in the back of the picture at the moment, as Kenya kick off, the Zimbabwean team have arrived. They'll be taking on Namibia. Oh, look at him go again, Ruby. He is the star of this side, I tell you what. And he's offloaded it. Unfortunately, it couldn't go to hand. Oh my. Whatever they did at halftime, well, it's working.
What did they put in those oranges and juices? Because clearly the Tunisians right now are feeling good, looking good. Allowing the ball to bounce there, a little bit tricky, but Kenya couldn't get there. And unfortunately, it looks like we do have an injury to one of the Tunisian players. Might just be the hooker there, because I don't see him coming to the line out, and that is Mohamed Anas Jabala. He is down, and he hasn't moved much.
Not looking good at all. We hopefully that he'll be fine. Never nice, as we mentioned earlier, to see players injured on the park. But let's just chat a bit about the exciting Wasim Ifaui. Boy, oh boy, when he gets going, it's hard to stop him.
Oh, it's hard to stop him. He's spotting so many gaps within the defensive back line of Kenya, and Kenya need to do something to plug that hole and also shut that man down, because if they don't, then surely they'll pay the price. He could single-handedly actually bring Tunisia back into the game. So they need to try and shut him down. They need to try and see how they can be able to close the running lines as well. So Kenya, unfortunately, it seems like something was in their juice, which has not allowed them to wake up for the first 5 or so minutes of this second half. But they need to wake up quickly, otherwise they might find the game gone.
Oh, they do. They do indeed. A 3-point game now, and I think it might be the side. It might be the side that, although those, by the Nedbank lorry there, I think there are lots of scores to be had there. But now this is a great contest. I think Tunisia, heaps and heaps of improvement from last year. You mentioned how they had a little bit of an unfortunate start to their tournament in arriving and everything. But, well, this year, they're really, really not going down without a fight.
Oh yes, and not going down without a fight. And we would have thought that most probably Kenya would have railroaded past Tunisia, but look, it's proving not to be an easy task, and this is where actually, what can you say, you exert more energy than you would have wanted against a side that you are expected, as I would repeat, expected to beat. And so when you exert that force, when you come up against a Namibian side, which is going to offer you a very tough contest, a Zimbabwean side, which is also going to offer you a very tough contest, then you find yourself in a pretty pickle. So let's see how things are going here. It looks like the captain here, Ahmed Hussein Ben Abdallah, that is the 8th man for Tunisia, just trying to make sure that his buddy his war mate in the scrum. You know, whenever you're a forward player, it's really all war, right? And they're big hits, big bustling runs, carries, and things like that. And so it looks like Jabala is good to go and ready to come back. And a hand clap all round from fans as well as both sets of players on the park. Now this is a line out for Tunisia, a bit of a defensive one. I'm sure they would want to clear their territory and maybe just put Kenya on the back foot, because Kenya have really started the second half on the back foot.
Oh no, they haven't. I love to see that the Tunisian skippers back out on the park. A lengthy delay, but Kenya have stolen that one. Doesn't find his jumper, and Kenya knock it on. So Tunisia still get the ball back. He'll be breathing a huge sigh of relief there, will the hooker, after having not picked his man, his jumper. Kenya there knocking it on. So Tunisia still with the ball deep in their own half.
Oh yes, now Kenya making all sorts of mistakes. I mean, the beauty of having actually intercepted that line out should have allowed them to really set up and begin to get themselves back in the game. But now Tunisia have got that scrum. I think for me, considering the dominance of maybe the Kenyan scrum, get the ball in quick, Tunisia, ship it out quickly. Don't put yourselves under the pressure of being shoved back. You're close to your own 22. You don't want a penalty going in favor of Kenya. And Kenya, again, being guilty of being too eager at the breakdown.
Yep, discipline here, Rui. Discipline lacking, and the confidence that this Tunisian side has now means they're running it from deep in their own half. They will no doubt be looking for their number 13. That looked like a forward pass for all money. But I'm not the referee out there. I'm just in the box with you, admiring this Tunisian attack, and there comes another forward.
A forward pass, unnecessary to have actually been there, and in actual fact, it's offside because pass to a man who had already gone past you. So really, I'm really not so sure what all that was about by Tunisia. That was a good piece of play right there. And from here, Kenya have made the right decision. Inch forward a little bit more. Get a penalty goal if you can, slot it through. I think Farhan Juma has been quite accurate with the boot. Only missed one, which he hit the post. So if they get this accurate kick in, then that surely should help them.
Oh, absolutely, and a good call. They've been under the pump in this second half of the Kenyans. This just to put a little bit more daylight between the two sides. This to take it to 22. He's taking his time here. Here's Farhan Juma Mutemi. They fly half. Gets a good strike. Distance not a problem. Accuracy is the problem, unfortunately, for Kenya. Tunisia won't mind that at all. They get a 22-meter dropout. And, oh dear, I mean, it seems as if it's crumbling a little bit for Kenya here.
It does kind of shoot down your confidence, doesn't it? When you don't slot those ones in, those are the ones that you should slot in. And it looks like they're giving the danger man Ifaui. He sends it back. And unfortunately, the kicks here have just not been too great from the fly of Mohamed Boumnigel. Needs to get those kicks a little bit more accurate and needs to get more distance in order to just give his side a bit more breathing room. Kenya a bit scrappy at the back there. Kepsheshe, the pass not too good. Surely that's a knock on all day long. And once again, I'm questioning what was in the juices at the halftime break and the oranges, because Kenya have really not woken up in this game, and really basic errors that are being forced by themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, forcing those passes, but that was good closing of the space there from the Tunisians, which then led to the knock-on. So they're really, really doing something great. It's going to be a matter of how consistently they can apply this pressure on the Kenyans, and how many times they can get the 3 points or cross the chalk, Ruby.
Oh yes, indeed. It looks like a couple of substitutions now that are coming on. Yanis Glaiz is coming off. So is Hamza Chiaoui. They are done for the day. And coming onto the park, that is Youssef Bejaoui. He comes in as the loose head. And also coming in as a flanker, Yanis Lerat is coming in as the blind side flanker, wearing jersey number 20 for Tunisia. So some refreshments, a fresh pair of legs, and try to see if they can maybe force something over against Kenya here. Who knows? If Tunisia score, they are leading.
And boy, what a game we'll have on our hands if they can get over the chalk here. Here comes the danger man, but he runs past the ball. First time we've seen them playing this expensive rugby, the Tunisians, in this half. And they're going to try and reload, coming towards the left side here. Oh, great offload to the big boy, the try scorer. Good defense so far from, show and go. Eventually offloads it, 50-50 ball on the ground. Which way is it going? Looks like Kenya have won the turnover, Ruby.
Oh, yes, they have. Just didn't fall on the right side going down, so ultimately presented an opportunity, and the Kenyan Chipu have taken advantage. And just a gentle reminder for all of you that are tuning in maybe just now, the 2025 Rugby Africa Under-20 Barthes Trophy here at Old Ararian Sports Club in Harare, Zimbabwe. And Kenya under the pump, I would say. Yes, they are leading 19 points to 16, but just failing to find their feet in the second half. Had a brilliant first half, but the second half not looking too good. Now deciding to go for territory, looking for a 50-22, wasn't successful, but nonetheless good territory still gained.
Absolutely massive territorial advantage there from the Kenyans. And I love how he asked his players to get behind him before he kicked the ball. He had plenty of time to do so. But, wow, what a second half we have here. This game could go either way as it stands, Rui. Either way.
Oh, yes. The general feeling, and I'm sure you are also feeling it right now, is that whoever scores the next set of points will have the psychological advantage to then be able to carry the game over towards the end. So for Kenya, it's very important for them to try and get a try and try and shut this down, this Tunisian revival or resurrection of sorts that has now come. They need to try and shut it down. But for Tunisia right now, they're saying, if we get a try, gentlemen, we're now in control.
Yep, around the fringes yet again they go, as they've done throughout the game. As the ball is available, even though there's a Kenyan body there. Referee allows play to go on. And there's the little chip. Oh, great kick chase there. Timed his tackle brilliantly. And they get the penalty. It works out brilliantly for the Tunisians, does that little chip kick. But they say a kick is only as good as its chase. That chase was spot on.
Oh, that chase was spot on. Got in there, put the pressure on the winger, and ultimately made the distance. Unfortunately, not finding touch. Oh, well, almost a found touch there. But Farhan Juma is going to look for touch himself. He fails to find touch. Now here's a counter-attacking opportunity for Tunisia. Swing it through the hands. Coming to the fullback right now. Oh, the fullback decides to go into contact. An unnecessary form of contact there that he took on board TC, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. There was one more pass out on the left. And he was quite fortunate because his team ended up coming to assist him. He was a little bit isolated. Tunisia playing under a penalty advantage at the moment. Player down, but play continues.
Well, that is Fred Said almost sold Ifaui down the river there with that kind of a pass. But luckily for them, they were playing under a penalty advantage. A high tackle by Kenya. And Tunisia have got this ball just by the halfway line or just inside their own half. Would you be willing to risk a three-pointer from here, an Andre Pollard of some sorts, a Johnny Sexton?
I would, because that would mean the scores are level, Rui. And that'll just really, really put so much pressure on the Kenyans, who didn't see this coming, I'm pretty sure. I feel they thought, second half they were going to run away from the Tunisians. The Tunisians towards the end of that first half were looking a little bit tired. You know, they were taking in deep breaths. There was a lot of hands on hips. But, well, like you mentioned, whatever they had in their juice, well, we need some of that.
We definitely do, especially in the commentary boxes with what is going to be coming up a little bit later on. If you're tuning into this live stream, do expect to see the home side. Oh my word, a yellow card has come out for Kenya. TC, you were talking about this. At what point is the referee going to start dishing out yellow cards? Well, here's the point, just after the halftime break.
No, absolutely, and I think he's been very patient with the players. It is the right flanker there for Kenya, John Asega, who's going to be out in the naughty chair for 10 minutes. And this is a great opportunity for Tunisia to try and make use of that one-man advantage that they have for the next 10 minutes.
Oh yes, make use of the numbers, make use of the numbers. I want to see the ball running through the hands if I am part of the technical team here, TC. Make use of that. Try to short out their numbers, especially when they're trying to defend, and I'm sure they will be able to get at least the 5 points. These are the opportunities you need to take when a team is one man down.
Indeed, well said, but it starts with the line out here. Hooker's going to need to be accurate.
Okay, 12 for 22. Kenya confirmed.
They do get it. Referee is happy. First maul we've seen from the Tunisians, and look at how quickly it's going forward. They've got good momentum here. Kenya scrambling in defense. Ball goes to ground, it's playable, and the back line will be in action now. Everyone's kind of hoping the ball goes to their 13. He passes it wide. Tunisia gaining good ground here, Ruby.
Oh, gaining good ground, but running straight into the Kenyan Chipu, who have ultimately put him in a maul, and they finally go down, but the referee easily is going to say turnover of possession there going into the maul. I don't think it was necessary for him to go into contact, far too small considering the opposition he was coming up against.
And even if you do go into contact, Rui, the key thing is dominating that contact so you can get continuity. But yeah, when you're a small boy and you get met by a massive oak, it's hard, but you've got to fight to get just one knee on the ground, and it constitutes a tackle. The referee will say release.
100%. Kenya have decided we're going to continue with the scrums here. Tunisia's scrum, I must say, in the second half has been much better than it was in the first.
Tunisia's all-round play.
Ultimately, I can't agree more there, TC, but I would have thought that Kenya would have wanted to kick for territory here, gain some meters, go for a line out, and then maybe try rebuild play there. But in any case, you can't think for the captains, you can't think for the boys. You have got to see what they're thinking about as they're going about business here. And so the ball has been fed. A lovely scrum by Tunisia, but Kenya get it out quickly. Kepcheche, not a clean tackle on him, but Tunisia all over him like we would say white on rice.
Decent touch finder in the end for Kenya. Tunisia will get a line out. Still in a very good position to attack. So territory advantage firmly on the Tunisian side here. And indeed, they are all over them, like white on rice.
And pun intended with their kit, which is predominantly white. So
a little bit of tomato sauce on it.
Indeed, and it seems like it's just tasty stuff for the technical team from Tunisia. I'm sure they're all smiles now with the amount of dominance, but they have to take advantage. Remember, time is ticking on the man who's in the sin bin. You have to score the points, score the try, do something right now in order to get yourself just slightly ahead.
Well, fly half caught in two minds there. Wasn't sure whether to pass or to carry it in contact. He carried it in the end. That's a fantastic offload, I thought, but it went forward. Ruby.
Yeah, just maybe one pass too many at that point. It seemed too good to be true for two Tunisians to have been that free without the Kenyans fronting up in defense. So ultimately that one went as a forward pass. But look, do not fall to the Tunisians here. They've been absolutely fantastic. They've been doing really well, going through their processes, trusting their processes, and doing really well. So they now need to do something.
Well, they were the first team out to warm up a little earlier, came out to the ground earlier, and you could just tell from their body language as they were running onto the field, the huddle, the war cries, you could tell they were pumped up. There was something special brewing there. And I'm glad it's working out this way for them. Listen, they are trailing, but they've definitely made sure that the Namibians and the Zimbabweans watching at the moment and it's not going to be easy.
Oh yeah, you actually think twice about saying, we're going to railroad these ones. You're now thinking about, okay, we need to watch this one closely. What exactly are their processes? How are they going about them? How are they running lines and things like that? So that's obviously for the technical teams of Namibia and Zimbabwe to think about. But obviously they will focus on that a little bit later after they are done with today's action, which is coming up at 3 p.m. Local time.
And it's going to be an absolute humdinger. Zimbabwe versus Namibia.
Oh yes, and you can see the crowd slowly building up here at Old Orarians as those that are expecting to watch the Zim and Namibia game are just coming through. Again, Kenya now get the ball out, looking to do that looping run that paid so many dividends for them in the first half. Ball finally offloaded, but not as successful as it was in the first half. Looks like Tunisia doing much better in their defense. They've got a knock-on advantage, looking to play some football here. Could Tunisia actually break through? And Kenya decides to bundle that one away, but it's still in play. And he decides to kick it again, but it might have taken a Tunisian touch and might belong to Kenya. What was Kenya doing? And, well, the referee said, play on, boys. Oh, interception. Kenya, can they punish Tunisia here? He's gone round the fullback. He'll be tackled. Another big tackle needed, and well done to Tunisia. They have done it, but they need to realign their defense. Kenya has got a huge overlap on the far left-hand side.
Well, talk about end-to-end rugby. For a moment, I thought I was watching a football match. And then the ball did not go into touch. It curved its way back into field. And then Tunisia took a quick line out, which was intercepted by Kenya. Ruby and I could barely keep in our seats. And then hands in the ruck means some sanity now prevails. We've got a break and play. Kenya with a decision to make, which I'm pretty sure it will be 3 points. Tunisia are going to see yellow. And there'll be a man down as well. That is Yanis Lerat, who has to take 10 minutes in the sin bin.
Oh yeah, very unfortunate for Tunisia, because now this is going to overlap with the time of the Kenyan man who is in the sin bin. He is going to come on board, and Kenya will now have 15 while Tunisia have 14. The question is, can Kenya then take advantage and actually score the points needed? I think for Tunisia, to an extent, they'll feel they've butchered the opportunity of actually having to take advantage there. That was a great chance for them to have actually taken the lead, but end-to-end stuff, as you said, TC.
This game has opened up brilliantly, and it's what a spectacle it is for, I'm sure, you watching back at home and the people who are here at the ground. It's just opened up. You can tell the crowd are now warming up. DJs playing the music a little bit louder, but Tunisia and Kenya, what a start this is to the tournament.
Oh yes, what a start it is. The 2025 Rugby Africa Under-20 Barthes Trophy. Junior rugby in Africa at its best. Of course, 4 teams now coming to the tournament. We know that other years you used to play the likes of the Madagascars as well as the Cote d'Ivoires and things like that. But the tournament has now been whittled down to the top 4 sides in Africa. And these have been for quite a period now, especially after COVID-19. And so Kenya have made the decision. Farhan Juma is going to take the kick. Unfortunately, he missed 2, one of them coming from a try conversion and the other one being a penalty that he missed, which was quite a horrible miss to say the least. But this time round, he should be expected to get this one and not bottle it.
Indeed, he'll need to take his time, settle here. And it does sail through. And just judging from the cheers of the Kenyan faithful here, Rui, you can tell how close this game is. That 3 points is massive in the context of this game.
Oh yes, massive in the context of the game, but doesn't necessarily take them out of the woodwork. It's only 6 points ahead. So a converted try and still Tunisia would take the lead.
Oh well, oh well, oh well. Tunisia to restart here. They have put up such a spirited performance. A lovely high-hanging kick, maybe a bit too deep, one would say. But they do have an opportunity. Oh, what a kick back from. Yeah, Talent is happy with that. He gives the thumbs up.
Well, I'm not so 100% sure if that was what we expected from that. A quick restart from Tunisia. Would have expected a little bit more. Maybe run it to the far side where obviously gaps were beginning to open up. But anyway, not bad. They are in Kenyan territory, so they will want to maybe try and press on them. Will we see another looping run once again from Farhan Juma? The move that has worked out quite well for them throughout the game and gained meters for them. Kenya goes for the line out, shipped out to Juma, to Kipchirchir. Kenya on the run. Oh, lovely inside pass there. Fantastic meters made here by Kenya, all the way from their 10-meter in their own half and now right outside the 22.
Oh, great passage of play from the Kenyans from the line out. They're pursuing that blind side. Unfortunately, Kipchirchir, who thought he was through, assistant referee on the far side there, noticing that his foot went into touch. So that'll be a line out for Tunisia. But the Kenyans have been really bolstered by the 3 points they scored earlier. They now want to bury this game.
Oh yes, bury it they must. Remember, very soon they're going to be back to 15, and I'm sure they will intensify running the ball through the hands, through the lines, and trying to get some runners onto the ball. I would have expected Kenya to have used their runners much more in the second half, and I think we mentioned this, TC, at the start. I'm not so sure why Kenya hasn't really done that enough throughout the game to really get their runners on the ball. We saw how much territory they gained just in this last phase of play. Great line out by Tunisia, gets into the hands. Referee is happy. That pass was not so great from Boum Nigel.
Yep, and I thought there would have been an opportunity of a high tackle there on the Tunisian player, but great work in the air there. He's a bit isolated on the ground. The counter ruck comes in. Oh, Kenya will feel hard done by there. Oh my, it's been played quickly. They're not back 10. He bounces off the big ball carrier there, the Tunisian number 8.
Well, he was told to sit down there by the captain and the 8th man. That is Ben Abdullah. And he is a happy camper, I'm sure, having made the Kenyans sit down there.
Oh, there was no space on that bus.
Well, and they were taking no passengers standing there. So ultimately, Tunisia will go for the kick into touch. They find touch just by the 22 or just outside the 22 there, signaled by assistant referee Talent Gandiwa, of course, one of our prime referees on the local scene. If you're wondering who are they for Zimbabwe, well, there's one of them. He's done very well locally, regionally, and internationally as well for himself. Now it looks like we've got a couple of substitutions for Kenya here. Number 2 and number 13 coming off, Emmanuel Odoyo, as well as their right center, Brian Omondi. They are going to be coming off and just putting in a fresh pair of legs as well for Kenya. And Kenya back to 15, remember, as the man has served his 10 minutes in the sin bin nicely and easily.
Yeah, Tunisia do well to secure ball. Got to get it out of that maul though. It's being tightly held there by the Kenyans, and now an opportunity. Now a very good opportunity. Runs into contact, manages to recycle the ball very well. I don't know why you kicked the ball away.
Kenya recover it fantastically, and I'm not so sure the fly-off there is using rugby IQ and intellect there, because there's really no need for that kick. Really just need to run it through the hands, get the runners onto it, set it up again. More than enough support that has been circling around for the Tunisians. Now deciding to run it from their own 22. This is a bit of sevens play from the Kenyans. Needed to have offloaded it to his winger, jumped out, and the winger just tentative, and he has handed over possession to Tunisia. And Kenya needs to try and roll away there. I don't know why he's actually sticking in there. Maybe thought he had a chance at the breakdown.
There have been some really big hits in this match. The physicality has been second to none.
If Aoui puts a grubber through, he's gone quiet after his early forays in the second half.
There was a touch on it, so everyone is onside. There was a touch on it, so everyone is onside. That's why the referee has not blown for offside. The kick came in, and Tunisia player who was trying to charge the kick down touched the ball, which played everyone on onside. Unfortunate for Tunisia, but those are the laws of the game, Rui.
Oh yes, very unfortunate for Tunisia, who really would have felt that they were in there, they were in the game. But this is what we call a sucker puncher try. 27-16 now. We're back where it all started for the Tunisians. And again, this is the one kind of piece of play or try that you feel will make life very difficult for Tunisia if the conversion goes over. So try time it is for Kenya. Kenyan fans are definitely happy, and more importantly, conversion is over. So that is 29 points to 16, 13 points the difference. And now, unfortunately for Tunisia, I think you can see a couple of heads now just dropping there.
Yeah, I mean, the manner in which that try was scored, shame. They're the laws of the game. Really good touchdown, actually putting pressure on the kicker. But the fact that that ball touched his fingers meant it played everyone onside. Yes, the Kenyan player was in an offside position had that ball not touched the Tunisians' hands. So, laws of the game, and Tunisia, I think they should just plan on finishing the game strong. And you never know. You never know.
Oh, yes, you never know. Maybe just need to dig in a little bit more. Of course, they're going to be waiting on their player to come back. Great take from the back rower from Kenya. He didn't even need to jump. That's how tall he is. Now Kenya on the charge.
The Kenyan supporters are very much emotionally invested in this one, really.
Oh yes, emotionally invested is an understatement. I mean, they're almost coaching the side to victory here.
If it wasn't for the netting around the ground, I think they'll be on the pitch.
I'm sure they will go on the pitch if Kenya are to win by the end of this match. But we know that so much time has already gone in this match. And for Kenya, they are feeling that now is just really running down the clock. Keep on applying the pressure, and ultimately they will get there.
Kenya making another substitution.
So line out it is. Very interesting. I mean, I've rarely ever seen a line out being thrown in by an eighth man. Hasn't been in the hooker duties, believe me. No lies told when we say the eighth man has not been doing any hooker duties, but he has been doing line out duties. So quite interesting to actually see that.
Yeah, quite interesting. I'm trying to picture Dwayne Vermeulen throwing in a line out.
Kenya on the charge. Oh, that was a good running line, but decided to offload it elsewhere to the second center, who I believe is wearing jersey number 16.
Kenya tight head prop Mike Muriti goes to ground. It's now with the backs Mutemi. Mutemi finds his flanker John Asega, who's back onto the field after his yellow card. I don't think he's going to be naughty any further in this game, because a second yellow in rugby means you get a red.
Indeed. Now out to the fullback and shoving it out to their right winger, who burst through there after that charge down and scored the try. And Kenya using the blind side and almost making their way through. So good piece of work by Kenya here, going through the phases, but also good piece of play by Tunisia, trying to shut them down, playing with heart, and hopefully they can also get a break in this match, because now it's just Kenyan Chipu dominance at the moment.
It is indeed, and they really want to put this contest to bed. They're really phasing it up. It should be the 8th or 9th phase now, and their backline coming into it. Is that a knock-on? Yes, it is. And Tunisia with an opportunity now. Great little offload, but not finding anybody. They are playing advantage, so it'll come back for the knock-on.
Indeed, another Tunisian man down, maybe taking a little bit more time to get up. And he seems to be grappling with his shoulder. Does it look like the captain there? It might just be the captain, Ben Abdullah, who is on the ground. Might have fallen awkwardly onto his shoulder. Made life difficult for himself, so now just looking to see what they can do from here. But I'm sure you will see behind the scenes on the far side, both Namibia and Zimbabwe going to get ready for their warm-ups now as they prepare for their massive Southern African derby. Whenever these two sides meet, they are arguably said to be the best two rugby nations outside of South Africa in the SADC region. And they have a bitter rivalry from senior level all the way down. And that rivalry will also be rekindled at national team level, at senior level in the Rugby Africa Cup coming in July in Uganda, as they will get to meet at some point if they do. They are on opposite sides of the draw. Zimbabwe begins its campaign against Morocco. Namibia begins its campaign against Cote d'Ivoire. That's in the Senior Rugby Africa Cup, the senior version of what we're watching here in Harare, Zimbabwe. The Under-20 Barthes Trophy, I think, the brightest idea for African rugby to actually develop this tournament, TC.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if we do look at that rivalry between Zimbabwe and Namibia, it's been favoring Zimbabwe over the past couple of years, both in the Under-20 tournaments and the senior tournaments. Zimbabwe Sables beating Namibia after about 12 or so years. But July is going to be a cracker because it's all to play for. If they do meet, it can only be in the final and not in a semi-final. And the winner of that game, if it is Zimbabwe, Namibia, or whoever makes it to the final of that tournament, books themselves a direct flight to Australia for the Rugby World Cup.
Oh, yes. And they'll be able to go see a dingo, mate.
And a kangaroo, but
well,
down under.
Down under. I mean, that is going to be a sight for any one of them. But it's finally back to play. Substitution there. Lucid for Kenya goes off. I mean, he's had a pretty good game. Great carries as well. So Kenya now beginning to rest all of their starting lineup players, feeling now that they're about to seal the deal on this win. It hasn't come easy. It's come hard. And I'm sure it's going to come hard for the other two sides as well. Ball is now finally in. Tunisia hold it steady. Ball out to the flyer. Ships it out. We haven't seen the number 13 who has electric feet when he gets running onto the ball. And I think that's going to be something that they're going to talk about in their dressing room to try and get their good runners on the ball. Tunisia still on it, going onto the blind side. Looking slightly isolated, but enough support around. That's a high tackle. Immediately a penalty signal given. High hanging kick. Again, is going to be taken by Kenya. And unfortunately, no advantage there.
A little bit of afters there once the whistle had blown. But going back to your point about the Tunisia number 13, Ruby, I feel they should have used him a lot more. I mean, what he did in those few minutes that he managed to break defensive lines and beat tacklers, I think they should have used him more. But instead, they persisted with the kicking game. He is quick. He's been making good kick chases as well. But I think with ball in hand, he is such a lethal prospect for them.
Oh, yes, he's a lethal weapon. And any space, any gap he is willing to take and ultimately gain the meters I also don't feel like as if he received enough supporting runners around him as he was breaking those lines. Sometimes when you've got stardust in your back line, you need to anticipate that he's got to make it past the other defender. Keep running alongside him. He might just offload it to you, and who knows, you might get that try. A good clean line out from Tunisia. Need to get the ball through. They've found the gap. They've broken through. This is number 22 who's running. He's made a good run. Kenya at the breakdown though, and they've managed to get onto it. Tunisia had to hold on. It was an isolated run by Mohamed Ayub Sadana.
Oh, what a break. And when you make a break like that, he looked right, he looked left, he saw there was no one, he had no option but to take the contact, and Kenya were clinical enough to get over the ball and force the turnover.
Oh yes, 100%. That's what we call rugby there, and good thinking, because times had gone tough for the Chipu, and who knows, Tunisia most probably could have scored a try for themselves. Oh, that kick is not into touch, has been punched back in. Oh, quite unfortunate for the fullback. Oh, well, Mohamed Aziz Ben Diab. Quite unfortunate. The effort commendable, though, to try and keep it in, keep the play going, but just couldn't get it or keep it in.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for effort, that's for sure. Good appreciation of the laws as well. Jumping whilst inside the field, tapping it back in. Unfortunately, no one can do anything about the bounce of the oval ball, can we?
Oh, yeah, no one. Sometimes you wish you were playing with a soccer ball. More predictable bounce there.
Oh! Nasty. Yes, the player was dipping, but nasty hit there. Glad to see the players getting up though. Oh my, that was a big hit.
There will be 1 or 2 stars, however, for the scrum half, and Talan Gandiwa might actually feel that there needs to be a higher penalty given for such play. So Kenya might find themselves in some serious trouble.
For me, it was a high level of danger. There was very direct head contact there. Yes, the player was dipping, but the degree of danger was high. And I would agree with the referees if they were to award this player a yellow card. They're going to have a chat. They are just going to have a chat. Oh my, oh my.
Well,
I've seen those sent off for an off-field bunker review.
Yeah, ultimately sent straight to the showers. But it won't be. It's just a penalty in favor of Tunisia. I mean, look, the game is almost put to bed. I would even do a tap and go here. Run it from your own 22. Try and get your runners on the ball. I know they're going to try and go for it, and it doesn't look like it's... Well, he did finally find touch. It was just teetering on the touch line there, and finally made it out. So ultimately, in the end, it looks like a good kick for touch.
Yeah, a monster of a kick. With barely any angle to work with, to get about 35 meters upfield is a good gain.
All right, so this is going to be a line out. It is Yasin Ayedi who is responsible for this line out. Needs to get it right, needs to get it straight. Looks like it's going to be a 6 ball, and Tunisians get it right, get it well right. Trying to go for a driving maul. Looks like they've swung round. The man has broken away from it, so Kenya need to be careful. Surely that was going to be a penalty. Now going through the hands. Looks like Ayub Sadana, who had a good run, losing out on the ball, and Kenya have gained possession. A punt over the top, looking for the 50-22, and it looks like he might just have gained it. If it's past the 22, surely that's a 50-22, and it is Kenya's line out.
Great kick there from the Kenyan. I thought they were going to run it because it looked like there was a little bit of an overlap on the short side there, but he was too clever. He noticed that there's space up, and I think it could have been a 50-22, but I think the Tunisian fullback kicked it out, so it's